Hello and welcome to Things Should Know, the show where we listen, learn and grow. The TSK show is where teenagers are empowered with the right knowledge to thrive and parents are equipped with the tools to guide them, because when teenagers know better, they do better. My name is Ifoma the Prof Nwato and I'm your host on the TSK show. I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of the TSK show. We all know that the teenage years can be overwhelming, emotional changes. We have the peer pressure, which is like an identity for the teenagers. We have identity questions and the push for independence. Yet, the guidance and presence of parents remain very important and crucial. That's why on this episode of the TSK show, we'll be diving into a powerful conversation, which is the struggles of a teenager and the role of parenting. And to help us unpack this important topic, I'll be joined with someone who is a voice among the young people. And my guest on the show today is Nwegbo Ifesinachi Crystal, a dynamic leader. She is a speaker and she's an author of a book who is passionate about helping young people and women live with purpose. She is the executive director of the Youth Being Initiative and an author of a book titled You. She brings rich experience in leadership, mentorship, and personal growth, inspiring individuals to unlock their potential and thrive. So this conversation promises to be a raw, practical, and insightful discussion for both parents and teenagers alike. So don't go anywhere. Bring your seat closer because it's going to be an amazing and interesting one. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Welcome to TSK show.
Thank you.
Finally, we met.
Yes, and I'm so happy to be here. So happy to be here.
We've been talking online and
Yeah.
we've not seen, and I'm happy to have you. In fact, not just happy, I'm honored
Oh, wow.
to have a woman of influence
Thank you.
on the TSK
Thank you.
show. And
Thank you.
I believe that teenagers who are watching us at home are going to be blessed. Let
Of
me
course.
speak like a pastor now.
Of course,
They'll be
thank you.
blessed. So,
Thank you.
okay, you've been working with teenagers and
Yeah.
young people for some time now.
Yeah.
I know sometimes, like somebody asked me, what's my passion? What is the drive? Why did I choose to work with teenagers? The person was like, were you abused when you were younger and all of that? So I want to know what inspired you. What's your motivation?
Okay, what inspired me would be my own struggles while I was growing.
Okay.
I'm very much a young person. But while I was a teenager, I had a lot of challenges, ranging from identity, rejection, low self-esteem, all of these things. I had experienced all of them, and and even while I was struggling with all of this, I also had the opportunity to interact with young people, and I saw that it's a common challenge. And God helped me, and I overcame all of those, and it became my passion, my singular mission, to also help teenagers while I grew up.
It's always very interesting and helpful to mentor from a place of experience.
Yes.
Because you've experienced it
Yes.
firsthand.
Yes.
So you can actually use your story
Yes.
to encourage others.
Yes.
So let's say, can you share one memorable experience that shaped your struggle?
Okay, I think it would be mine. I want to be very personal, right? I think it would be my experience because, like I said before, I grew up with a lot of self-rejection at home, the situation, my background and all of that, low self-esteem. I barely used to smile, right? While growing up.
You smile a lot now.
Exactly. So if I don't tell you, you won't know, right? So I barely smiled, and that's because I was all up in my head. Nobody liked me. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to have friends or hang out, until I now began to come out of my shell. God helped me. I'll just say God helped me. And then I now had conversations with my mom, because I didn't used to talk with my mom. I didn't have a good relationship with my mom at the time. And then I just came out of it, and I'm like, okay, this is something that can also help other young people, because I know what they are feeling. I can understand where they are, and yeah, that's it.
From your experience now, so what do you think is the most commonest struggles of teenagers of today?
Off the top of my head, I would mention two. The first is identity crisis.
Okay.
The second is lack of proper mentorship. And mentorship not from an outsider, but from parents.
From parents.
Exactly. So these two are very crucial things that I would say are lacking in the lives of young people and teenagers.
I know that our parents of these days are very busy. And there's this emotional disconnection between the parents and the teenagers. So why do you think that many teenagers feel that their parents don't understand them? Because I equally work with teenagers, and most of the times you see them saying, nobody understands me. They don't understand. Some will even tell you that their parents want to stress them out. So why do you think they feel that way?
I would say is times are changing. In fact, times have changed. And our parents are not flexible to adapt to the times, right? I would use myself as an example. I've mentioned it here, a few minutes ago. My mom, so I had to decide, okay, let me have a conversation with my mom. And I told her, what is going on? This is how I feel. This is how, and good a thing, my mom listened, right? My mom is a teacher. So I think that was the beginning of our bliss in our relationship. So I believe that parents are not willing to listen to their teenagers. And I'm not saying listen to them as per let them tell you what to do. I'm saying listen to their perspective. They have a perspective and you just have to listen and then balance it, because you're the adult. So you know what they don't know, but listen to their own. So give them a listening ear.
Okay. No, there's always a gap between parents and teenagers, and the parents don't always find it difficult to step into the world of the teenagers.
Yes.
Okay, now, having said that, what are signs that parents should look out for to know that my teenager is silently struggling?
First off, if you don't know what is going on in their lives, right, all you just know is that you feed them, they have their bath, they go to school and they come, exactly, their school fees, give them food, and that's it. First of all, I think you should check out for the details of their lives. There are other details, emotional. Who is your friend? Why do you think, do they feel need to be validated by other people? My friend is doing this, so I feel the need to do that. So they should pay attention to other things aside from the basic needs that they have. If you don't have an idea of at least who the friends of your child is or are, right, it's already a red flag. You don't know what it is that interests them. You just assume this is what this person will like, right? So not being able to pay attention to their psychological, mental and emotional needs, it's very important. So those are the signs, I think.
Let's use your own experience, because you talked about communication. You have to speak to your mom, so for her to understand how you feel. So what is the place of communication in all of this when a teenager is struggling? And again, like you said, it's not just about hearing what they are saying, because most of the times the parents will just say it. Let me just is that all? Sometimes they invalidate the feelings of these teenagers. So what is the place of communication between the parents and the teenagers, and this time from a place of passion, compassion and empathy?
I think it's the lifeline of progress. That's communication. Do you understand? Between parents and their teenagers. It's the engine, right? If a parent actively listens. We did a survey because my organization, the Youth Being, runs school campaigns. So we go to secondary schools and do outreaches, and we speak to majorly senior secondary. And we did a survey in about 6 schools. And one of the questions in the survey is, how do you think your parents can support you in discovering your purpose? And majority of them, 90% of them, said they wish that their parents would listen to them and not impose their decisions on them. Do you understand? So it opened my eyes to see that you have to actively listen, and ask questions. If you're understanding what I'm saying, you would ask me, okay, so this is what you mean. So do you want me to do like this? You want me to do? Do you understand? So don't just listen to them as per in passing and let them just finish. Okay, I've heard you.
And also that parents not just listening. Some parents listen to discipline.
Yes. So you now use it against them.
Yes.
You understand? So they are trying to open up to you, and the next thing they're telling you, oh, I had this friend that did this, and like, how would you do the next thing? You're
some
turning,
people call for deliverance.
exactly. So
Like
the next
imagine a 14-year-old teenager telling the mother, I have a crush on my
exactly
on my classmate.
those kind of things.
She will clap and call all the village people and say this side.
It's very crazy. I have, you know, cousins that I closely mentor that are teenagers, and one of the things that happened is their parents are not willing to listen to them, right? They are just in their space, and I give them that listening ear, and I say, okay, it's okay to do this is okay, but you understand. So I try to put them in balance and all of that. So it's communication is really important, and you have to see it from their perspective. Yeah.
Okay. We know when we talk about teenagers and peer pressure are like husband and wife.
Yes.
So whenever, though adults go through peer pressure, like, but it's as if it's more common. The pressure is more when they are teenagers, because they are also still developing and forming and all of that. So how can parents, because we are also looking at the role of parents in all of this, how can parents guide their teenagers in navigating peer pressure, overcoming peer pressure without being controlling? Like I said before, you know, you walk up to your parents and say, okay, this is what my classmates are doing, because it's a normal thing for teenagers to want to feel among, to want to fit in. And the parents is like, oh, God forbid, not in my house, without understanding that this is actually age appropriate. So how can parents handle peer pressure, help their teenagers without being over controlling?
I think you should help them know why they want to do what their friends are doing. You know, if you want to address a problem, you go to the root. Do you understand? So take for instance, my child comes and a teenager comes and says, well, everybody in class is doing this, is buying this. I'm like, okay, why do you want to buy this? Why do you want to be part of everybody in class to do this? Like, it will look like I'm different, or I'm not. So why do you feel the need to be validated by? Do you understand? Exactly. So those kind, then you now begin to address that issue, because them just want being pressured by their peers is just the surface. That's not the root of it. So you now begin to address, so why do you think you need them to validate you and all of that? And then you now begin to tell and that stems from identity crisis. So tackling that issue from identity crisis, it's the foundation, is where it's going to, you know, help. So that's what I think.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us and your own personal struggles, because it's always good to share your experience when you're working with young people. And you know, some of them, they think you just talk, you don't understand, but when they know that you've been through this journey and you understand very well. So from hearing what inspired you and your own struggles and how you can help teenagers and how parents can help teenagers, I believe that parents and teenagers who are at home and young people watching us can relate, because the struggles teenagers face today are often misunderstood. But I know that those who have watched us so far will relate that, oh, this is normal, this is what happens every day, the distance between the parents and the teenagers. And this are not just issues out there, they're happening in our homes, in our schools, in our communities. So viewers at home, the conversation doesn't end here. We are going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we are going to look at practical ways parents can step in, not just with discipline, but with empathy, wisdom, and guidance that truly makes a difference. You don't want to miss this. So now we want to go even deeper. This next part of our discussion will focus on solutions, how a parent's lifestyle and emotional intelligence shape their teenagers, what to do when there's rebellion or disconnection, and most importantly, how parents and teenagers can rebuild and thrive together. My guest is still very much in the house, and she is a voice when it comes to the youth and teenagers. So we are going to be asking her questions, because I know you don't just work with teenagers, because once you're working with teenagers, you're working with their parents, because parents will come and tell you, this this your boy,
Yes.
this your girl is giving me headache. So how much does a parent's lifestyle and emotional intelligence influence the way their teenagers navigate struggles? Because I believe that parents are like mirrors. They are the first social, the family is the first social unit every child experiences. So now, how does the lifestyle of a parent?
100%. The question is, I mean, it's 100% because research shows that the life of a parent affects their child's decisions from 0 to 7 years. And it reduces from 7 to 12 and, all of that. But at the early stage, at the foundation stage of the child's life, the parent is like the mirror that they are seeing, the model they are seeing, the mentor they are seeing. And that's why, and also leadership, which is very important. Every parent must take responsibility for leadership, leading their children. Because it's not just about, John C. Maxwell said that a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So when you're a parent and you're a leader, what it means is that you're the one that is practically leading your child to whatever path you want the person to go. So it's not, and leadership is not do as I say, it is do as I do. So you find parents that are doing something else and they're telling their parents and their children, their teens to do something else. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. So if you're not somebody that is very particular about how you want you want to model a particular life to your child, you find out that you would breed something that you regret later as a teenager. Yes.
Okay. It happens that John Maxwell is one of my best authors.
Amazing.
And I've read so many of his books on leadership and people management.
Exactly.
So now let's look at it like when teenagers are showing signs of rebellion and disconnection. Because there's something I tell parents, most of the times when teenagers feel they are not being heard, they become rebels. Like they don't care again. They just want to do what they want to do. So when this is happening in the life of a teenager, what can a parent do to build trust and reconnection? Because when there's that emotional gap, some of them want to survive on their own. They want to take decisions on their own. So how can a parent step in and let there be a balance? Okay,
first, I think what the first thing to do is to know is that it will take time. Second is you must be intentional.
Very, very.
Very intentional. So begin to pay attention to the teen. What do they like? What are the things that interest them? Now begin to get involved. Because usually why they even, disconnect from the first place is that they feel like even if you're doing it, you're not doing it the way that they would hear. It's just like when they say there's 5 love languages. There are languages that I prefer to receive more than others. So if my love language is affirmation and you're giving me gifts, I may not receive it and appreciate it as much. So for every child, there's something unique, a way to get that child's attention. So for some, they are most interested in entertainment and stuff, and you use that as an avenue. It's called intentionality, basically. So you have to be intentional, and to gain their trust, you have to be in their affairs. Show them that you care. Do you understand?
Yes.
Show them, not tell them, I'm your mother. I love you. We all know that exactly. We all know that you love your child, but show them the way they would see it and appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to parents and teenagers on building a relationship that fosters thriving, not just surviving?
Family is the smallest unit of the society. The armed robber, the prostitute came from a family, had a mother or have a mother and a father, right? The advice I would give, or the counsel I would give, is your home is your first ministry. Whatever you're doing outside is secondary. That money you're finding, you're chasing as a parent, is secondary, right? And your child must be your utmost priority first, because it's that child that is your legacy. whatever that you acquire as regards to certifications, you know, applaud from people doesn't really matter. I found a lot of influential people lose touch with their children. Because they are constantly outside, they are constantly caring about other people and not their child that is at home. So I would say that parents should prioritize their teenagers and their children, their health, their well-being, emotionally and psychologically. A lot of things are happening. Let's not even delve into what is happening in the society.
And let's not also not pretend.
Exactly, that we don't know that these things are happening, right? So I would advise, and then teenagers, I mean, we know better. We should know better. Let's do the right thing. If your parents is not understanding you, try to make them understand you. Be patient with your parents. If they knew better, they would do better.
Of course.
Right.
So
yeah.
now, I want to ask, because you're talking about parents not understanding and teenagers also trying to help themselves.
Yes.
So what is the role of mentorship for a teenager?
It is, I permit me to say, it's almost everything at that stage, because like I said in the beginning, two common identity crisis and lack of proper mentorship. And mentorship is not controlling someone. Because that's the ideology that a lot of even teenagers don't even want mentors anymore. Because the idea that has been sold to them is that this mentor is dictating what you should do.
So they want to figure things out.
And nobody wants to be in that place, right? So mentorship is very important. Mentorship is simply guidance, right? And allowing that person to also make mistakes.
Okay.
So
it's been an amazing one. So finally, let me ask you now a very direct personal question. What has been the most rewarding part of this journey for you, working with teenagers and their parents?
The most rewarding part would be the satisfaction, the fulfillment, because no amount of money, you know, would suffice for it. The satisfaction, for me, I believe it's my calling. It's what I'm here for, and that's what, you know, gives me joy and satisfaction.
The life of impact.
Yes, impact.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the TSK show, and I appreciate you for sharing your insights and depth of knowledge.
Thank you.
You know, working with teenagers is not easy.
It's not.
And I love the fact that you're satisfied.
Yes.
You're satisfied and you're living your dreams, and you're living your vision and your purpose. Oh wow, what a powerful conversation. We've seen teenage struggles closely, and also how parenting through communication, empathy and emotional intelligence can help teenagers rise above them. A very big thank you to our guest, Nwegbo Ifesinachi Crystal, for sharing such wisdom. And to every parent and teen watching, remember, thriving is possible when we choose connection and understanding. My name is Ifeoma the Prof. Nwatu, your host, and this is the TSK show, where teenagers are empowered to thrive. Until next time, keep building bridges that empower our teens to thrive. That's a wrap for today on the TSK show, and bye for now.